iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Well, welcome in here tonight, race fans, to the Las Vegas Bullring here in the desert, just outside the city limits of Las Vegas, Nevada. Here comes the Best Colorful Creations Pro Series, presented by the Upstate Racing League, here tonight for Project Confusion Night. My name's Roger Muth, high above the studio here tonight. Alongside me is Kelly Dahl. Kelly, welcome to one of the tightest tracks of the schedule.
Yeah, not quite the tightest track, but definitely getting up there because the Bullring does not allow very much room, and it is a track that is named very aptly. I mean, it's essentially just a very, very tight track, as you said, and there's really going to be one way around it, and it's going to be the bottom lane, and everyone is going to be fighting to get as low as they can in the corners.
Drivers who have fought for victories here in the Upstate Racing League, their names are Chris Stump, Justin McDuff, Joe Schaefer Jr., and Robbie Keneally. Just some of the drivers that have etched their names into the record book with the Upstate Racing League here at the Las Vegas Bullring, who will be the driver to put themselves here in 2023 into the record book. Right now, we have a little bit of a heat race going on for these drivers, and all those drivers will actually transfer in. It was just a little bit more track time for 6 of these competitors here tonight to get their cars officially dialed in. 26 cars have made the tow here tonight to the Las Vegas Bullring, so that means we will start all 26 drivers. And Kelly, we talked about it earlier here tonight. We're starting to get down to the nitty-gritty here with the points championship, as there's just 4 races to go, counting tonight.
Yeah, we are getting to the tail end of this season's championship, and it's really going to come down to the wire. We've seen a very tight championship battle pretty much the whole season long, and it's been a bit of a surprise as to who's come out on top so far, and that's been the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. He is having himself just a breakout season.
Yeah, he has right now, currently, when we look at the Arts Barbershop point standings, 46-point lead over the Doctor of Bill Martin. And then right there's another, there's a big gap from Bill Martin back to Matthew Barkhouse, who sits currently into the 3rd spot. Brett Hahn, a rookie this season, right now leading the Rookie of the Year championship. He has 2 more rookies right hot on the heels there, and that's a tightly contested battle. There is just 10 points separating Brett Hahn, Dalton Williamson, and Stephen Roachford. That's going to be the battle to look forward to here towards the end of the season, as the rest of them, they're starting to grow, but there's still time for Bill Martin and Matthew Barkhouse to close the gap on Guillaume.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is not a sure thing for Guillaume Fortin. He shouldn't be celebrating the championship just yet, because as you mentioned, there's still 4 races to go, and a 40-point lead. It will shrink very fast if he has a few bad nights, but there are drop weeks to factor in, don't forget, so he can have a few bad results and maybe still maintain his championship lead.
So as he is the championship leader coming into Project Confusion Night, we got to thank AJ Hamill for making tonight, well, just a little more confusing, as, well, that's what AJ does. So thanks, AJ, and the Project Confusion, as they are also our caution flag sponsor this season here with the Upstate Racing League. We also got to thank Best Colorful Creations, the custom cake headquarters for the Upstate Racing League. For your next special cake or your special moment, make sure to give Best Colorful Creations a call, the exclusive cake provider of the Upstate Racing League. Looking at it, though, as you can see down here on our virtual Pixel Raceway here at Las Vegas, the Bullring, it is just about time to light the fire here underneath these super late models. So let's take you down trackside and get that starting lineup here for Project Confusion Night. Starting on the front row, due to what we call is a little bit of a handicap invert, it will be car number 23 here tonight. Ellie Musgrave will snag her first career pole with the Upstate Racing League. She'll start P number 1. To the outside of her, driving car number 31, that'll be Justin Rigsby. Back into the third spot, driving the Eddie's Performance Solution number 88, that'll be Matt Eddy. Back into the fourth spot, it's the boss man himself, in car number 96, Al Smith Jr. Dalton Williamson, car number 1, will roll from the 5th position, while Chris Stump in the 98 Ohio for the Empire Racing Team will start back in 6th. Scott Austin in the Austin Designs number 5 out of Illinois will start back into the 7th spot. And how about the 802 entry? That is car number 4, Rodney Hontoon. He'll start 8th. 9th to go to the driver out of Huntley, Illinois. That's the Hack Daddy himself, Brian Hacker. And rounding out the top 10, car number 45 of Casey Bietti.
One of our Rookie of the Year contenders, Brett Hahn, will be rolling off in 11th with Justin McDuff to his outside. In row number 7, we are going to see Stephen Rochford in that 66 machine with Guillaume Fortin, our championship leader, lining up to outside of him. Matthew Barco is going to be following close behind in row number 8 and 15th with Bill Martin lined up alongside him. Mike Alexander is going to start back in 17th with the 18 of AJ Hamill starting 18th. Andy Lambert rolls off in 19th, and Vernon Woodard rounds out our top 20.
21st starting spot here tonight, out of the last chance qualifier, Michael Trevarthen in the 2 entry. Back into the 22nd spot will be car number 12, Lightning McQueen, Brian Rogers Jr. While the Higgins Hill Racing checkered flag, all fly number 40 of Rob Higgins will start right there in P number 23. 24th will go to the Best Colorful Creations, Jimmy McIntyre, car number 81, and it's Granny Hips Walkers and Canes, number 13, MA. Joshua Buckley will roll from 25th and 26th starting spot here tonight. The Catch 22 Motorsports, number 22, that'll be Mike Holtzclaw. That's the 26 car field here tonight on Project Confusion Night for the Best Colorful Creations Pro Series here. So 26 cars locked and loaded to do the battle.
Ellie Musgrave going to be running out front for the first time this season. I believe first time in her career starting up front in the Upstate Racing League. So we'll see if she's going to be able to handle the pressure of having 25 other angry cars right behind her.
As we get ready to come into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone here for the first time tonight, the Best Colorful Creations Pro Series is Green Flag Racing here tonight. Project Confusion Night is Ellie Musgrave with a huge start here over Justin Rigsby. She'll clear him by the time we get to turns 1 and 2, as we have to go all the way back to Dalton Williamson back here into the 5th position to find the first side-by-side battle here tonight at the Las Vegas Bullring. Ellie Musgrave will lead her first career laps with the Upstate Racing League.
Drivers are not going to want to be staying on that outside line. They want to get down to the bottom, as we see Al Smith Jr. He is still stuck to that high side. Now Chris Stump going to fill that gap on the bottom, denying the 96 from being able to run down to the bottom. Al getting really loose off of turn number 4. He's going to be able to hang on to that car, but that's going to cost him another spot, as now here comes Scott Austin, and even now Brian Hacker coming through, as Al Smith is just dropping like a rock.
Al Smith stuck to the outside. Here comes the Hack Daddy now, Brian Hacker. He's picked up 2 spots here early on in this one. Looking to pick up another one. He will. That'll be, well, another position gain for him. Here comes Brett Hahn and the caution lights. Mr. Confusion caution lights are on the speedway. I believe Brian Rogers Jr. possibly the car that has brought out the caution flag. Lightning McQueen's got a little bit of right front damage that he possibly went ka-chow. Let's take a look back here and see. There's the damage, and yeah, around he goes off the front nose there. I believe he was sideways in front of the number 40 of Rob Higgins, so that's what will bring out the caution flag here. For the first time here tonight at the Las Vegas Bullring, we bring the caution flag out, but take a look who's still out front here tonight. How about Ellie Musgrave, the 19-year-old out of Washington, has been with the Upstate Racing League. I believe this, Kelly, correct me if I may be wrong, 3rd season here with the Upstate Racing League, I think?
I thought this was the second, but I'll have to double check here. I'm going to have to now try to find her in the standings here. So, quick check is going to come up with... This is actually her second. Yeah, last year it was her very first season here at the Upstate Racing League.
So for the second season with the Upstate Racing League, I know if I was in the driver's seat of car number 23, my racing shoes would still be shaking, whether it was my second year or third year, because the talent that's right now out behind Ellie Musgrave is bar none, to say the least. Of course, she does have real-world racing experience, so that may help her keep the nerves cool and calm under the pressure here, especially at this track.
Yeah, but it has not been her season this year. So far, out of 8 starts, has not even scored a top 10. So this is probably the best opportunity she's had this year to score herself a good finish. So she's just got to keep herself out in front of this field. And what we've been seeing tonight is the big thing is just going to be that throttle control off at the corner. We've seen a few drivers get loose, and that's what really bit Brian Rogers, is he got way too much on the throttle, spun the tires, and that just sent him right into the wall.
Well, we're going to see who has the heavy foot here, because we're going to come back into the Hanson Starter Shop Restart Zone. Ellie Musgrave, Justin Rigsby, Matt Eddy, and Dalton Williamson will be the first ones to refire this one off here tonight after the first Project Confusion. Caution flag of the evening. This time, Rigsby getting a better start, and he'll turn the 23 of Ellie Musgrave. Musgrave getting turned around off that restart there, and that will bring out the caution flag once again, and we'll have to see what actually transpired there. We saw it live, but we'll have to break it down here in just a moment. So Ellie Musgrave gonna be turned around. Let's watch it back here. Watch it from high above. Watch car number 23 gets a pretty decent start, and then Rigsby down the banking into her, and comes down once again, trying to get down to the bottom lane, and just turns the 23 around, and Musgrave going to make hard contact with that nose.
Would that be our fault? Is that maybe a little bit of commentator curse coming out right there?
I don't know what you're talking about there, Kelly. Not from up here. Doesn't it seem like that happens like on a weekly basis now?
It's happened once or twice this season, we can say that much.
So as we continue to watch this replay back here, we'll be able to go on board here. I think the truck says it's on the next one. Right there, you can see the 31 of Rigsby down into the right rear quarter panel, turning that 23 around. Right on board here with Justin Rigsby. You see a little contact there, and unfortunate from Ellie. She's going to get turned around off that 31, and that's going to be some heavy damage to the nose. We'll keep an eye on Ellie Musgrave, because this is a tight little track here. We talked about it early on, and no place to really run away and hide. But we're coming back here, I believe, into the restart zone. It'll be Justin Rigsby here, back into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone.
Justin Rigsby is going to be able to fire whenever he wants, and he does get a good launch, and that is actually going to cost, I think, Matt Eddy, as he's stuck to the high side. Now he's going to go way up the banking, and that's going to make them go 3 wide. There is this 98 of Chris Stump shooting the middle, and he's going to get through, but that Matt Eddy is just going to keep dropping back, now trying to slot himself down at least into that high line as we get yet another caution here on the racetrack.
Caution flag is out as the number 2 of Michael Trevarthen has gone around with 13 MA of Joshua Buckley. So a little bit of a rough start here tonight for Project Confusion night. A couple drivers getting tangled towards the back of the field. Let's see what happened here. Possibly watching that number 2 machine, the BK Paints Rev Esports driver of Michael Trevarthen. Oh, he'll get a little help there from Andy Lambert. He goes around, nowhere for the number 12 of Rogers to go. He actually gets slowed up just in time. And I believe that was Joshua Buckley taking a little bit of a lazy spin.
I think tonight has been a very fitting night for our caution sponsor to also sponsor the race, because so far already 16 laps into this race, we have had 3 cautions, and as we said, it is a very tight track. Everyone's fighting for the bottom, and as the field is just bunched up on these restarts, everyone's trying to just shoot whatever tiny gap they may have to get to that bottom lane.
Right now, the driver that has picked up the most spots, he was last week's winner. He is the 7-11 entry. That is Brett Hahn there in the quick time entry. Then you see the driver out of Michigan currently is up 7 spots here in the early goings, and he has a couple more spots that he can go up there and get. He's got Hacker in front of him, Williamson and Rigsby, who is currently still the race leader here tonight on lap number 17. Rigsby took over the race lead after a little contact with Ellie Musgrave. Musgrave has rebounded just a little bit. She is now running into the 22nd position after that last caution flag. Andy Lambert will take the, I guess the trip to the back of the field. Car number 72, the priority auto entry, will now tag the back of the field. He took claim to that one right away.
Lights are out on the pace car, and we are going to get back to green flag racing next time around. And these drivers stacked up once again, door to door, side by side, and once again going to be in control of the field is going to be Justin Rigsby, and it's a good advantage for him to have. He can fire whenever he wants once you get to that restart zone. And what Dalton Williamson needs to do is not have the best start. He doesn't want to be side by side with Rigsby. He wants to have a gap that he can get down to the bottom immediately. But as we get to the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone, Rigsby is going to fire, and actually the 11 of Brian Hacker might be able to hold off the 1. No, the 1 is going to slot right down to the bottom of the turn number 1.
Brett Hahn with a little contact there with Brian Hacker as he got around, and then Hacker, tried to hold his position. Hahn tried to scoot down there, and he was able to. Just a little contact. Now Matt Eddy still stuck to the outside. It has not been a good couple of last laps here for car number 88. He's still stuck to the outside. Here comes the number 66. That is Stephen Roachford, the rookie, down to the bottom side of the speedway. Had himself a good run in the 24 Hours of Daytona with his crew, and now he's trying to work his way closer to the top 5. He has a win this season with car number 66, but man, that 88 just cannot get to the bottom.
Battle for the race lead, though, is the 1 of Dalton Williamson. He has got to the inside of Justin Rigsby. Now coming through turns 3 and 4, the 1 is going to get clear. Rigsby has made a mistake at some point. He opened up that bottom side and allowed the 1 in, and that is going to cost Rigsby as the 1 of Williamson actually gets a little bit loose off of turn number 4.
Right now, the top 2 spots is Dalton Williamson and Brian Hacker. They have a little history of running together on the short tracks here on iRacing, so we're going to have to keep a close battle eye on that as the number 31 of Rigsby continues to fall through the field. Now that is the 7-11 of Brett Hahn, who has got around him. Here comes now the number 98 Ohio Chris Stump, and then Casey Pietti, the youngster right there, is, working on a top 5 right now, week in and week out. We talked to him last week when he finished on the podium. He's been one of the fastest cars on the speedway all season long, just has not had the results.
Yeah, we do need to keep an eye on this group up front. They are running very tight together, and they're actually starting to, the top 3 are breaking away just a little bit. Williamson, Hacker, and Hahn are starting to pull away from Chris Stump. They've nearly pulled up about half a second over that 4th place car, sorry.
There you go as we ride on board with Brett Hahn. Looking back at the number 98 Ohio, there you see Stump going to this time drive it in way 4 Loco deep into the corner, and he actually got that car to hook up. He has actually reeled back in the 7-11 of Brett Hahn, so that could be another battle here brewing in just a couple of moments. A couple cars making a little contact back there, though. That was the 18 of A.J. Hamill. There you see him in the Project Confusion number 18 NY getting around the number 4 of Rodney Hontoon. Hontoon stuck to the outside. Look who's buried deep into the field here tonight. That's the 13G of Guillaume Fortin. He is our championship leader, and he is right now currently back into the 16th spot.
Yeah, the Quebecois has been having a bit of a rough night, starting 14th due to the handicap invert, and I believe just got stuck on that high side a few times on the restarts. And once you're caught in a position like that, it is very hard to really gain any sort of ground. So you just kind of have to take what's given to you. And now that 13G machine is trying to work his way up through the field.
Everybody's starting to single file out here around the Las Vegas Bullring. Back up front, though, it is still Dalton Williamson. And now Brett Hahn has worked his way around Brian Hacker as Hacker left the door open. Hahn waltzed right on through as Chris Stump was sideways. Here comes Brett Hahn. He'll look to the inside of car number 1 here. Battle for the race lead. 2 rookies here on lap number 31 battling for the race lead.
Nearly made contact off of turn number 4 that time. Brett Hahn, though, in that preferred lane. It is going to get him the lead. He's now going to go through, and now looking at the Brian Hacker, he's going to also try to push his way into second. And Dalton Williamson just gets stuck on the highest side, and he is going to be moving back through the field as now Chris Stump is to the inside of him.
Normally it's the high side hustler here tonight, though it's the low line nibbler. Down low is where you want to be here tonight, and there is the 4 Loco number 98 of Chris Stump trying to take away that spot, but Dalton Williamson actually able to hang on here pretty well onto the outside. I do think eventually that outside lane, though, for Williamson is going to start to fade, but he has to try and hang on because they are lined up on the bottom. Now he'll be side by side as Chris Stump does clear. It'll be Casey Bietti's turn, car number 45.
Yeah, there is just not much Williamson can do. This track is just so flat. There's hardly any banking in the corners, and with how tight the corners are, you want to be just as tight to the inside as you possibly can. Just getting off the bottom at any sort of way is just not going to help you in the slightest, but there's nothing he can really do. Is, like you said, just try to hold on the best he can and try to hope for one of these drivers to make a mistake and give him an opportunity to get back to the bottom side, but everyone has just been freight training past him.
Now it's going to be Rochfort's turn, and then Scott Austin is down there. So right now Williamson has gone from leading about 6 laps ago, now all the way back to the 7th spot. He will actually be able to get sneaked down in front of Scott Austin just for a moment, so maybe he can cool the tires and start to work his way back towards the front. But that's just what shows you if you get off the bottom side of the speedway here tonight where you could end up, and it's deep into the field. Now the battle, though, for the race lead. Hahn has it here on lap number 38, the best lap. Lap number 39 is now up on the board, and Brian Hacker is trying to get that 7-11 entry, but that time out of turn number 2, Hahn got a great run out of turn 2 and started to extend that race lead. Chris Stump still under attack, though. Casey Bietti back there. Somebody a little kiss of the wall down the straightaway. I think that was Brian Hacker. He was able to keep it straight, though.
Yeah, Chris Stump, I'm sure what he wants to do is just focus on catching up to the 7-11 and the 11 machines, but he has to keep an eye up behind him on Casey Bietti in that 45. If Bietti feels like the 98 of Stump just isn't quite going fast enough, he may try to make a move, but it actually seems like there is a bit of a gap that's kind of opened up between them, so maybe Bietti is just good with trying to follow Stump along to try to catch up to these leaders, and Brian Hacker has been closing up the gap. He is right on the bumper of that 7-11 of Hahn.
Little by little, that Brian Hacker entry in a brand new paint scheme this season here on Wednesday nights for Brian Hacker. Also a brand new baby back home. Of course, you know, you got to thank the wife for letting him come out here on Wednesdays and on Sundays with the Upstate Racing League and get behind his virtual pixel car. So he's right now trying to do it for the little one back home. Currently sitting in P number 2. Where's one driver that hasn't really made up much ground here tonight? Well, that'll be car number 20 of Justin McDuff. He's back here into the 10th spot. He's picked up 2, but he's under attack because here comes the doctor, Bill Martin. He took a look down to the inside that time in 3 and 4, but was not quite able to do anything really with it. All these drivers trying to be mindful here of each other, not really force the envelope. Still a lot of racing left because we're not quite halfway here tonight at Las Vegas. The question is, when are these drivers all going to start to gamble and maybe push it just a little bit harder? Right behind them, Matthew Barkhouse is right there. Mike Alexander, A.J. Hamill's also right here. A lot of good cars buried in about the mid-pack here tonight at Las Vegas.
Yeah, but you always got to keep an eye on Bill Martin, even though he may not have had the greatest starting position, starting in 16th. He's already moved himself up 5 positions up to 11th, and I'm sure he's going to want more as he's putting all sorts of pressure on that 20 of Justin McDuff. Just hasn't quite had the run off of a corner to maybe make the move to the inside.
Couple drivers that have not had it their way here tonight. The number 96 of Al Smith Jr. in the Stand RC Speedway entry. There you see him down 13 positions. Rodney Hontoon down spots. There's Jimmy McIntyre. He's picked up 4. Now he's down to 3 because there goes Ellie Musgrave. There goes Mike Holtzclaw. Here comes Brian Rogers Jr. He is just stuck to the outside right now and absolutely nowhere to go here. Once you're up to the outside, we've seen it all night long, you kind of sink like a rock in water. Josh Buckley and Rob Higgins tailing the field right now. Rob Higgins making his first feature event here this year by default since we've gone to the 26 car fields for our A main feature events. There you see car number 40. Rob Higgins currently running back into the 26th position. The first car, the last car actually on the lead lap.
Yeah, not much separates Brett Hahn from that first lap car, but speaking of separation, the 7-11 has pulled out against the 11 Illinois of Brian Hacker, and there's just a little bit of a gap, so we'll have to keep an eye on Brett Hahn, see if he's been pushing those tires just a little too much, or if he's been able to take care of that car.
Well, we thought last week by him running at Irwindale down around the bottom that he was starting to use those tires up, but, well, they lasted all 100 laps at Irwindale. Tonight, though, he's got a fresh set of tires. We're 53 laps officially in the books here tonight for Brett Hahn, as he has currently led the most laps since he got out front here at the Las Vegas Bullring. Brian Hacker, I'm looking at the lap times, and yeah, he's matching Brett Hahn currently. Those two drivers are some of the fastest drivers on the speedway, along with Justin Rigsby, who's back into the 5th position. There you see the Ryan's fatted calf, number 31. He's currently sitting into the 5th spot. Remember, he did lead a little bit here early on and then got stuck to the outside and just was not able to get back down until running back into the 5th spot. Stephen Rochfort's right there. Dalton Williamson, he was also a race leader early on there in the car number 1, and he's back there into the 7th spot. He found his way in between Rochfort and Austin, and then, well, that's where he settled for about the last 30 laps.
And there is quite a long train of cars kind of stuck up behind Justin Rigsby, but no one's really able to make a move here tonight, as you really have to try to get a good run off of the corner and immediately get your nose to the inside of the car in front, and that is definitely easier said than done here.
There you see it as we ride on board with Justin Rigsby, car number 31, currently sitting into the 5th position. That's Stephen Rochfort just behind him, then Williamson, Austin, Eddy, and McDuff, who round out currently the top 10 drivers here at Las Vegas. See everybody just right along the bottom, the zipper effect. One car trying to make a quick pass down to the inside. I believe that's Vernon Woodard, trying to get underneath the 13G of Guillaume. Guillaume going to open up the door. Vernon Woodard, the 600 micro sprint driver out of the Devil's Bowl in Vermont. He will make the pass, so Vernon Woodard trying to go forward here tonight. He's picked up currently 5 positions. There's the driver out of Fairhaven, Vermont. Car number 73's got also the Stand RC Speedway on board his number 73 here tonight at Las Vegas, so he's moving in a forward direction. Guillaume down 2 positions from where he started 14th, now running currently back into the 16th position.
With Bill Martin, there is a caution out for the Scott Austin number 5 car. He is sideways in turns 3 and 4 there. Or sorry, that was 1 and 2 actually. We'll have to see what happened to that car, as we had actually quite a long green flag run there.
Yeah, we were on, obviously, our longest run of the evening here at Las Vegas, and Scott Austin will bring out the Confusion Performance caution flag here tonight on Project Confusion Night. If you're confused on that one, race fans, so are we here all night long. But let's take a look back here at Scott Austin into the back of Williamson, and, well, they were able to clear that up and keep it going. And I know Williamson was jacked up going in the corner, and Matt Eddy into the back of the number 5, and, well, call that a little bit of a chain reaction.
Yeah, a little bit of a racing deal is what I would probably call that one there. Is just one car got into another, and unfortunately just a little bit of an accordion effect sent Scott Austin around, but that's going to cause that 5 machine to, I believe, tag the tail end of the field possibly, so definitely a costly mistake for the 5.
Back live, looking at a live feed here as they all come back into turn 1. Brett Hahn is the race leader. There you see him in the 7-Eleven entry. He did pick up last week's win, and that put him as the second rookie this season to be able to take a win, and that was back at the Irwindale Speedway. He says that's one of his favorite tracks. He said the Bullring was not so much one of his favorite tracks, but he's here tonight showing that he can do it. Taking a look at the schedule that's remaining here with the Upstate Racing League. Next week, we will actually head to the Hickory Motors Speedway before we go to Oxford and the Five Flags Speedway, where the Upstate Racing League always finishes off their season at the Five Flags Speedway. And Kelly, we're going to Hickory next week because Kern County was the short track that was slated to come out here with iRacing. Unfortunately, it has not been released yet, so a schedule change. We are headed to Hickory Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Hickory should be an interesting one, but the one that's been marked on my calendar is Oxford Plains. That is always a fiery race, but we have to get back to going racing here as Brett Hahn approaches our Hanson Starter Shop restart zone. And we'll have to see what he's going to be able to do on this next green flag run as he launches off the corner, and that is going to be a good opportunity for Brian Hacker to immediately get to the bottom side. As the 45, though, of Casey Bietti, he's going to try to see if he can stick the outsider on Chris Stump.
Side by side down the back straightaway for Casey Bietti, and he'll try to stay on the door of the 98 Ohio if he can. It does not look like he will, but he'll be able to get down to the bottom side. Good driving there by the 45. Oh, sideways for the 66 of Roachford. We're going to be 3 wide racing, I think. No, Matt Eddy will think better of it. He lifts out of the accelerator. He'll stay back to the outside behind the 66, but now here comes the doctor. Bill Martin knocking inside the top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, Bill Martin getting a good run here on the bottom side. That's gained him a few spots on this last restart. Is that 88 of Matt Eddy, he's going to finally find himself a gap and get to the bottom as everyone kind of checking up on that bottom side due to all these cars that are just diving for every single gap they can see on the bottom.
Roachford still not able to get down to the bottom side of the speedway. Now he'll be able to find a spot that's behind the tribute car to Ken Block there. That is car number 15 of Matthew Barkhouse, so he will get down. Now one other car stuck to the outside. That's the R&R Kinsman. Auto Salvage number 75 of Mike Alexander. A.J. Hamill's confused on which lane he wants to be in. Right now it's the bottom, and he washes up the speedway. Little contact between Hamill and Alexander, and now here comes Guillaume. We thought he was out of it. Now Guillaume down to the bottom side, picking up spots here late.
Yeah, Guillaume is having a good run here, and that is going to limit the damage that might have happened to his championship lead here. However, Bill Martin and Matthew Barkhouse, the 2 drivers that are chasing him in the championship, both still have a few spots on him. Guillaume sitting in 12th as we run at the moment, but Bill Martin, he has now got himself all the way up to 8th.
All the way up to 8th, and look who has rebounded here tonight inside the top 15. Now Ellie Musgrave in car number 23 has picked up a couple spots on restarts and through the long green flag run. She's down 13 spots from where she started here tonight, but 14th after having to tag the tail of the field. She's back, working her way back closer to the top 10 here at Las Vegas. We'll click off lap number 74 this time by and work lap number 75. It is all Brett Hahn out front, and he has the biggest race lead that he has had all evening long. Almost a, 3/4 of a second gap back there to Brian Hacker, and it is climbing as Hacker has Chris Stump all over him.
Yeah, that 7-Eleven car is rolling here tonight. He has been having some fantastic laps and has opened up a huge gap over Brian Hacker, and that gap is continuing to increase as it's up to 0.8 of a second, and pretty much a huge gap of about maybe like 7 or 8 car lengths over the 11 Illinois.
You see everybody down around the bottom side of the speedway, everybody back into that formation, except for Scott Austin. He's trying to work his way back through. He's back to the 15th spot already as he's to the inside of number 12. That is Brian Rogers Jr. Vernon Woodard right there lost a couple spots on that restart. He was on an outside lane. Mike Alexander also losing some spots on that restart. He was also one of those drivers, unfortunately, having to start to the outside lane here tonight at Las Vegas. And now here comes the 22 Holtzclaw sideways, and little contact, little door banging, going to send Brian Rogers Jr. up the speedway. Little more contact as he's trying to hold these drivers down there to see if he can maybe possibly find a way back to the bottom. That was Michael Trevarthen that time. And
the Ford pontoon's gone around.
That'll bring the caution flag out.
A little bit of contact off of turn number 2 looked like just in the back of behind the battle we were taking a look at. Rodney Huntoon just gets turned sideways, and that'll bring out our Confusion Motorsports caution flag once again.
Well, what do you say we take a quick look back here at it? Watch car number 4. Rodney Huntoon, Joshua Buckley, 2 of the Northeast drivers here. Did they make Granny Hips lost control of the walker and right into the back heels of car number 4 there. Rodney Huntoon sending him around. So slight little contact there between those 2 drivers is what sends Rodney Huntoon here. Take a look at this one. The bars off the back here of the 802 Precision entry. There you see a shove by Buckley going in the corner, and then another little boop and bump.
Yeah, it is not taking much to get these cars out of shape here tonight. We've seen them as they're pretty much using up all the grip they have available, trying to power off of the corner. So just a little tap there past the halfway point of the corner when they're starting to get back on the power is really going to upset the balance of the car and send them around. But we're going to get ourselves back stacked up once again, and this is going to be another opportunity for Brian Hacker. The gap has disappeared once again. We'll see if the 11 Illinois can keep up.
So it'll be Brett the Jet out front here, Hack Danny there, and then Chris Stump and Casey Bietti. That's the top 4 as we come back into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone. Another great start by Brett Hahn. Brian Hacker going to be able to slot to the bottom side. Now Casey Bietti started the challenge. Contact going to send one car up the speedway. 3 wide racing down the back straightaway. That'll be Dalton Williamson that got shoved up high.
And look at Guillaume Fortin sending it through the middle there to keep himself ahead of the one of Williamson. Williamson was looking for a gap to get down just a little bit onto the high side, but Guillaume not wanting to lose any sort of ground over his championship contenders. He's trying to make that high side work, and as these drivers are checking up on the bottom, it kind of is, but it's still not going to be enough. He needs to find a gap on the bottom.
Has had a moment that he was not quite clear, but could have made himself clear. Now he will. He'll slot himself back into the 12th spot. He'll get tagged by the 5 of Scott Austin. Now he's going to go up the speedway. Here comes Mike Alexander. Williamson also up the speedway. Ellie Musgrave going to make contact there with the number 2 of Michael Trevarthen. Ellie, who was up inside the top 15, now is back into the 19th position.
Yeah, battles all over the racetracks in the 96 and the 22. Bang doors going into turn number 3. That's actually going to cost the 22 of Holtzclaw as he loses ground to both the 96 and now the 72. He's going to hopefully find himself a gap right in front of Higgins. And that is going to kind of stop the bleeding as looking back towards the front of the
contact
field.
One around in turn number 4. Big pile up. Andy Lambert, the number 40 there of Rob Higgins, and the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre have brought the caution flag out here for the 6th time on Project Confusion Night as they all kind of just got jacked up and Jimmy tight down there. Andy Lambert, the one that I believe was airborne. I think I saw him do a little bit of an endo and maybe a little bit of a slap wheelie possibly. We're watching back here. Watch the Priority Auto. Number 72 VT of Andy Lambert got into the back of Al Smith, checked up, and then, that was actually Higgins that got a little bit airborne back there. Got jacked up by the Best Colorful Creations number 81 of Jimmy McIntyre.
Yeah, this is another situation that we had earlier, is this one car getting to the back of another and just causing an accordion effect that is really going to cost Andy Lambert as he got turned around and sent towards the back of the field along with a few other drivers like Rob Higgins, who, as you mentioned, kind of got rear-ended so hard it lifted up his entire back end.
Wonder if all the suspension is underneath that number 40 or if some of it was left out there on the speedway.
Surprisingly, the sheet metal on the back of that 40, it does look good, but the front end, on the other hand, is very banged up, and that's actually going to cause Higgins to bring the car down pit road for a little bit of repairs.
Yeah, he will come down pit road. I'm sure he's going to grab himself another one of those Busch lattes while he's down there in pit road. You see him come to a complete stop. We'll see if he is able to make his way back out onto the speedway. There you see a good look at the top 3 competitors here right now. That's Brett Hahn, Brian Hacker, Chris Stump. Brett Hahn will get credit if he can lead another 5 laps as the driver that picks up the most laps led here tonight at the Las Vegas Bullring. And, in hopes that he can pick up his 2nd win with the Upstate Racing League. We will get the 1 to go, so we'll get this one doubled up here. We're ready to go back racing here tonight at Las Vegas as these drivers, we have about, call it 30 laps or so here left tonight at Las Vegas as we get ready to come back into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone.
Yeah, just over 30 laps. I don't think either one of us are good enough at math to tell you the number immediately, but we'll see what Brett Hahn can do as he once again is in control of the field coming into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone, and he's actually going to get a very late jump, and actually the 11 of Illinois Hacker's going to get a bit of a tap from Casey Bietti, who is trying once again to hang it around the outside of that 98 of Chris Stump. However, that outside lane just isn't quite going to have enough. Bietti is going to nose ahead, but every time you get back into the corner, the 98 of Stump just pulls back ahead.
Some good racing here inside the top 4 as that caution flag is back out. I believe Al Smith Jr. will bring this one out. There you see the driver out of South Glens Falls, New York. Driver out of the Stand RC Speedway group. He will bring this caution flag out. It looks like his Ford Fusion's nose is flatter than it was before. So that means that's the caution flag is going to be for Al Smith Jr. Let's take a look back. Let's watch it as he's battling with the number 22 of Holtzclaw. There's Ellie Musgrave. Holtzclaw got a bump from Rodney Hahn too, and then he got a bump from Holtzclaw, and around goes the number 96 with his white rims and all. So the boss man getting sent to the tail.
Yeah, and just ahead of them as well, there was another bit of contact. Bill Martin nearly got sent around as he got tagged in turn number 1 there, and he was just barely able to save it on the apron, and lucky for him, the caution had come out for that other incident, so I don't think he's going to lose any positions out of it.
How many times have we seen Bill Martin get a little sideways and Tokyo drifted to save it?
As we've said before, I think every single week that car has come back with some damage, and it's hardly ever the fault of the 39. Trouble just seems to find him, and actually taking a look at it, it doesn't seem like he's been banged up all that bad here tonight, but yeah, he did get a little tag there, but thankfully was able to save it before it became a worse incident.
So right now, getting closer to just 20, it should be about 27 to go. We go back racing here tonight. It's Brett Hahn, Brian Hacker, Casey Bietti actually going to be scored, I think, to the inside here. So he jumped Chris Stump on that restart. So Stump back to fourth. It'll be McDuff, Barkhouse, Rigsby, Eddie, Roachford, Hamill. Now inside the top 10, Matthew Barkhouse and Brett Hahn both tied for the most spots gained here tonight at 10 positions. One driver that's lost the most, that'll be Al Smith Jr., down 20 spots from where he has started here tonight. And it does look like Rob Higgins is back out onto the speedway. I believe that is still on the lead lap. So we do have 26 cars still out there. 26 cars still on the lead lap as we're coming back into the Hanson starter shop restart zone.
Going to have to keep an eye on the 45. Is he going to be able to hold off the 11 and keep him stuck to the high side? We'll see when Brett Hahn is going to fire. He's going to jump out. And the 11 Illinois is going to have a not great start. He's going to actually be side by side with our leader, Brett Hahn. Now there is going to be a bit of a gap between Hahn and Bietti, and that's going to allow Hacker to move to the bottom, and that's going to allow him to hold on to his second place position.
So it'll be Brett Hahn back across the line. Then it'll be Hacker Bietti, and the battle is for fourth between two teammates. Matthew Barkhouse trying to make it 3 wide down the back straightaway. He'll shove the nose, contact the 15 around into 3.
That was a high risk and big contact. Lots of cars piling in now, and it is a parking lot inside turn number 4 there. As after the caution flag flew, everyone got into each other and just created a huge incident.
A lot of drivers involved in that. I think I saw the 39 of Bill Martin, Jimmy McIntyre, Dalton Williamson, Matt Eddy, all involved, AJ Hamill. And that all started with a 3 wide move down the back straightaway by Matthew Barkhouse. And we'll watch this one back here. Watch it back as the two Empire Racing teammates were side by side. And see the little contact by the 15 of Barkhouse. And then the 31 of Rigsby was down to the bottom side. There's Matt Eddy and Barkhouse up riding the wall. That's where he comes back down. A lot of damage to the Hoonigan number 15 entry. Let's take a look here. Right on board with AJ Hamill and the Project Confusion onboard camera here tonight. He's confused. He was, well, having a good run.
Definitely looking back at that move, it was a high-risk move for the 15 of Barkhouse, just trying to shove himself into a 3 wide spot. But towards the end of the race and a track like this, you got to try to get any spot that you might have presented to you. But that is going to cost Matthew Barkhouse, and not just cost him in this race, but that will cost him in the championship standings, as he may have to use one of his drop weeks for this race. And I don't know how many of them he's actually used so far, but it is not going to help his chances trying to catch up to Guillaume Fortin in the points.
Same with championship hopeful of Bill Martin. He was involved in that one, so he'll actually have to start towards the tail of the field on this restart. We'll wait to see. I'm getting the nod. Yep, that is the correct running order. Bill Martin will start back into the 25th position here when we go back racing. So he has a lot of, positions to gain with only 21 laps. When we come back here into the Hanson Starter Shop restart zone, it'll still be Brett Hahn, Brian Hacker, Casey Bietti, and Chris Stump here. It'll be 21 laps to go here. Project Confusion night, counting down.
Green flag back out. Brett Hahn getting off to another fantastic jump. However, Brian Hacker looked like he spun the tires. That's going to give an opportunity for Casey Bietti. Bietti's going to get himself to the inside. They're going to be completely even up going down to the turn number 3. That inside line has had the advantage. However, Hacker still trying to hold on the outside, hoping for a caution with his nose just out ahead. And actually, he's going to be able to pull out just a little bit over Bietti, but now spinning the tires again off of turn number 2. They're going to be even up as the caution flag flew. I don't know which one is going to be given the second position.
I don't know. 20 laps to go brings us our 9th caution flag of the evening. I believe car number 22 of Mike Holtzclaw may possibly be the car that got turned around. And being told contact between him and Andy Lambert. So the driver from Tennessee and the driver from Vermont possibly making the contact, bring the caution flag out. Let's take a look back here. Watch the 22, Mike Holtzclaw. Runs it down into the corner, and Joshua Buckley got him, and then Buckley got tagged by the 72 of Lambert. So it all started with Buckley and Holtzclaw, and then Lambert getting involved. Right on board here with Andy Lambert. See the contact, you just could not check up in time as these drivers were all battling along the bottom side of the speedway. And that'll bring out our Confusion Performance Caution flag here once again at the Las Vegas Bullring here tonight for Project Confusion Night. Brett Hahn still the race leader.
Yeah, Brett Hahn has been running a fantastic race, just been able to keep himself out of trouble, keep himself at the front of the field, and it has not been one that he's just cruised out to in the lead, because at the start of this race, he started all the way back in 11th. He's gained 10 spots. I believe he is our biggest mover of the night to bring himself up into the lead, but ever since he's got the lead, he has not looked back.
A couple drivers that have been inside the top 5 just about all night. Somebody knock on some wood so we don't jinx any more of them here tonight. Brett Hahn, Casey Bietti, Brian Hacker, and Justin McDuff have all pretty much since lap number 10 been inside the top 4. Stephen Roachford has bounced back and forth between the top 5 and the top 10 here tonight. Chris Stump's been he's the only driver that's actually still running where he started tonight. Chris Stump's still in 6th. Rigsby's been up and down here tonight. Alexander's been actually outside the top 20. He now finds himself inside the top 10. Scott Austin's right there. He's been involved in a yellow flag here tonight, and now he's worked himself back inside the top 10. And Guillaume, well, been pretty quiet. He's 10th.
Yeah, but just because he's in not quite the highest position, you got to look at some of the other drivers that are around, because Bill Martin has not had a great night after being involved in a couple incidents. He's dropped down to 21st. Matthew Barkhouse, his car looks to be done for the night. So in the end, this is going to be a good night for Guillaume Fortin at the championship standings.
Don't have to use that drop if you don't really need it, so that's good for him. We're coming back. It'll be 14 laps to go here at the Las Vegas Bullring. Brett Hahn, Casey Bietti, Brian Hacker, and Justin McDuff back into the Hanson Sorter Shop. Brett Hahn has been getting some really good restarts, and we'll see if he does again here.
He takes off into turn number 1. Casey Bietti trying to fight on the outside as he's been a few times now. He's now going to drop down in front of Brian Hacker, going to take away that bottom lane, as now these top 3 are single file. Just behind them, Justin McDuff, he's going to slot in behind Roachford, as Justin Rigsby has moved himself back up into 6th place. He's been having himself a bit of an up and down night, but fairly decent night for that 31 car.
One driver stuck to the outside right now. That's Chris Stump. There is Mike Alexander also. Here comes the 73 of Vernon Woodard. He'll waltz through the door there, opened up by the 4 Loco entry. And here comes now that number 13G, Guillaume Fortin, trying to pick up another one here if he can late into this one. It'll be 11 laps to go, this time by at the line for Brett Hahn, who's got a little bit of a cushion right now. About 2, maybe call it 3, if lucky, car lengths over the number 45, this time by double high 5. It'll be 10 laps to go in the desert.
And Guillaume Fortin a couple weeks ago did mention that his focus has shifted towards the championship. He is just trying to run some good, clean races, keep himself out of trouble. He doesn't need to be contending for victories every single night, and that's kind of what he's been doing tonight. He was running fairly low in the standings and dropped all the way back to about 17th or so, and now he's just kind of quietly crept up the field and moved himself into the top 10.
He got himself a little bit of a wiggle that time, was able to corral that car and keep it underneath him. Hahn opened up another, call it a 10th of a second last time by here in the closing laps. Who will have this one at the end? Is Brett Hahn going to be able to pick up 2 in a row as we see 7 to go? Everybody down around the bottom here at the end of this one. See if we can click off the final laps. We will not, because, oh boy, Al Smith turned around all 4.
Al Smith Jr. getting involved in another incident, and I'm sure he is not going to be very pleased, as I think this is the third time that 96 car has been sent spinning off of one of these corners, but he has been able to keep that car trucking, and it's just going to be a rough night for him.
Watch it back. What happened to Al Smith? There's Holtzclaw, the 22. Holtzclaw got right into the left rear quarter panel, and these cars on these, well, older tires, easy to upset. And you saw Smith's car go around. Just the slightest contact sends him around.
Yeah, I think that may have been one just aided a little bit by netcode. One car was kind of moving down, one was moving up a little bit, and just unfortunate situation for both of them. And the drivers are actually arguing over which one should take the EOL, and each one is arguing for themselves to take it. I
mean, I guess that's good. Sometimes we see drivers not willing to take that EOL, but now we got two fighting. Who do you send to the back then? I don't even know.
It's definitely hard to call. I mean, almost that one would be sort of a racing incident, but that's not really something you want to make that call in the race, because the way this league works is if you do not claim the caution and you are found at post-race to have caused the caution, you get an EOL at that point from the final standing, so no chance to really move yourself back up through the field, and you get double the penalty points, where if you rack up too many of those, you're going to get parked for a week.
Well, there's a fan out there in chat. Justin Fuller not here tonight at the Las Vegas Bullring. He's pulling for the number 11 of Hacker, and I think that may stem Kelly back to the other week where those two had a little run-in towards the end of the race. Fuller obviously feeling very bad. He's not here tonight. And, well, pulling for Hacker to possibly get his first career win with the Upstate Racing League.
You can pull for Hacker, but unfortunately, it's been Brett Hahn's race to lose. That car has just been hooked up, and I think that car may need to go to tech after this, because there has just been something else going on with that 7-Eleven car. The 11 Illinois of Brian Hacker has been running a very good race. He's been up towards the front of the field pretty much the entire night. He's moved himself up 6 spots, but he has just not been able to catch that 7-Eleven car.
It's been the restarts that have been the Achilles heel for the 11 of Brian Hacker. We'll see if he can restart here when the final, looks like it'll be a 2-lap shootout, or this might be the green-white checker, actually.
This is going to be the green-white checkered. It has just come down that we are going to make one attempt at a green-white checkered, pace car down in the final time, and we head to the Hanson's restart zone for one last shot at this. Brett Hahn in control of the field. He's going to have his chance to fire. He's going to get a good launch out in front of the field. Casey Bietti is going to find himself a gap. He's going to be able to move down to the bottom, and now this field scrambles for those final positions.
So it'll be down the back straightaway with 2 laps to go. We'll see if we can come back here to the white flag, or if we're going to caution flag, and I believe we will see the white flag. It'll be 1 lap to go, presented here tonight by Carpenter's Tech Service, and the caution flag will come out just like that.
Caution flag came out just before the leader took the white, and that kind of stemmed from a big check up in turn number 3 that sent the 39 of Bill Martin around, and looks like the 18 of AJ Hamill also got sent to the wall and even T-boned on his way there.
So watch it back here. Watch the 18 of AJ Hamill, and big checkup on the bottom side, and yep, AJ up into the outside wall is what we will get. So this will be the end of the race. It'll be Brett Hahn taking the victory here tonight with being told Casey Bietti, then Brian Hacker is how they will come across the line. Stephen Rochefort, Justin McDuff, Justin Rigsby, Kim Fortin, Scott Austin, Mike Alexander, and Vernon Woodard is how they will finish this one off here tonight. Not the way we like to finish under the caution flag, but nonetheless, we will finish this one off. We'll take a quick break here as Brett Hahn well, he'll actually do some donuts here real quick before we take a quick break. There's the 7-Eleven, 2-time winner on the season, rookie candidate. We'll park it in victory lane. His West Coast swing so far has been to his liking.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Well, welcome back here, race fans, to the Las Vegas Bullring here tonight for Project Confusion Night. Well, these drivers were certainly confused, pointed into the wrong direction a couple times, but we have officially finished off 126 laps here. 1 lap extra needed tonight to figure out who was going to go to victory lane, and they are standing by here. It's the 7-Eleven of Brett Hahn. Brett, you pick up your second win, and it's 2 in a row here for the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, Roger, we're once again even more pumped up. I tell you what, get some confidence from last week with that big win, and then drive through the field with Casey once again. And man, we are pumped up. We have been working on this car all season long, and finally got, I think, all the bugs out of it. Finally got some luck, and man, we're excited. This track is definitely tough, Roger, to put down some laps, as you can tell here tonight with the yellows.
The West Coast swing has been really nice to you. What has it been that has really got the fire up underneath the right foot here of this car? Is it Kyle Lesher turning the wrenches? He's out there pulling hard for you.
Yeah, I think so. I think the fans definitely add a whole nother factor to the pressure in the car, but also the motivation. After that mid-season slump with like those 20th places, we were not happy with it, disappointing the fans out there. And gotta give a huge shout out to Kyle. He's giving me some good advice and whatnot, and turning some wrenches, and all the guys on the 7-Eleven machine. I tell you what, we've put a nice piece together, and man, we are pumped up.
You're pumped up. We can tell you pumped up the field here tonight. You're also going to walk away with the most positions gained here. How hard is that when the racing line is pretty much down around the bottom?
Well, Roger, luckily we got really lucky at the start, able to be in some lines when it counted, and able to make some moves, make some early moves, get out front as quickly as I could, and yeah, just set sail. The biggest thing was trying to put that power down. If you overdrove the corner and had to wait on the gas, your run was absolutely killed. So I made sure to try and always hit the bottom, at least on exit, and get as straight as a run off, because I tell you what, you heat up that right rear tire tonight, and she was gone in a handful of laps.
Well, you talk about the right rear tire and whatnot. Well, what do you think next week? Are we're going to be able to save the right rear tire? Because we will head to, I believe, I just said it earlier, and now it slipped my mind. We're heading to Hickory next week. What do you think about Hickory?
Yeah, Hickory, Roger, is one of the tracks I haven't really raced the most at in the Super, so hopefully I'll get some time to practice from here and now. Didn't get the most practice here tonight, surprisingly, but able to do it. And yeah, it's surprisingly similar. You know, tough 1 and 2, that's pretty tight. You got to watch out for that bump, and then 3 and 4 is kind of floaty. So we're hopefully going to do it again, probably start just as deep, Roger, and hopefully we'll get some luck on some starts and keep this thing pointing in the right direction, because when we do, it seems like it turns out halfway decent, at least in the second half of the season.
Well, a great run for you here tonight, Brett. We'll roll the red carpet out once again. Here's the microphone. It's your time to shine, and thank everybody out there.
Yeah, of course, Roger. First and foremost, got to thank you guys at Turn 3 Racing Network. You guys put on a heck of a show. If you're ever bored, feeling some sim racing, or even want to watch some good racing, tuning in Turn 3 Racing Network. They got some great streams and races throughout the week. They do an awesome job. Of course, got to thank Casey out here helping me dial her in tonight. He's always pretty good with pointers on how to make this thing quick, So I got to give Casey a huge shout out. Also, Brian, he had a heck of a run tonight. He made me work my tail off. He kept the pressure on me. Even when we were checking out in that middle run, I'm like, man, Brian's not letting me save at all. So hopefully this doesn't come to bite me. And luckily, had some cautions there at the end to kind of cool off the tires. On the car, we got to thank QuickTime Motorsports Media, RHU, for the teammates over there at ASRC, of course. Turn 3 on the car as well. And yeah, Roger, of course, got to thank, what was the sponsor here tonight? Whoever's Project Confusion, got to give them a huge shout out. Also, Best Colorful Creations and all the other admins. Al puts on a heck of a league. So can't wait. Have, of course, a long list. Of course, Kyle tuning on in, Grammy, all the Brett the Jet fans out there, my girlfriend, Jessie. So all of the Brett the Jet fans out there, you guys are awesome for tuning on in, rooting for the 7-Eleven machine. And hopefully we can keep the streak going, Roger. We're pumped up. Woo!
I'm not quite sure what to say, race fans. That's Brett the Jet. He just flew by 10 cars here tonight. He picks up the win, so Brett will pick up his second win with the Upstate Racing League. Kelly, I think you have somebody who I don't think he's going to be as excited, but nonetheless, he finishes second.
Yeah, caught up now with the driver of the 45 machine, Casey Bietti. And Casey, last week it was your best finish of the season in third place. This week you actually bested that with your second place finish. So safe to say you maybe have things kind of rolling for you now, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Me and Brett have been working together the last couple weeks, and last week I followed him up through, and this week I did the exact same, followed him up through. Hopefully next week he can follow me up through, and I can end up one spot better. But yeah, no, it was definitely a tough night early in the run. I thought I burned off my right rear and was sitting in fourth there, so couldn't really get to the bottom quick on the restarts, and it was really tough. And we had those 3-4 quick cautions, and I was able to cool down the right rear and then get around Chris on the top to get third. And I think that was definitely the big change for my night.
Yeah, we saw you trying to work the high side a few times. That with a track like this, how hard is it to really make any sort of moves when everyone's just trying to stay planted to the bottom?
Definitely in traffic, you can maybe pick up one or two because everybody's trying to check up, get to the bottom. But once you're up front in open traffic, it is pretty well impossible to roll the top. And I was lucky enough to catch a caution and be barely in front of him when the caution came out, and it was definitely a turning point. And once again, the top is extremely hard to roll here, small Bullring like this.
Well, as mentioned earlier, you had a third place last week, second place this week. Do you think you're going to be able to carry that momentum into Hickory next week?
Definitely. I know Hickory's not one of my best tracks. Setup isn't quite dialed in there, but hopefully we can get it dialed in before the race and have another good finish next week.
Well, Casey, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. Before we let you go, though, who would you like to thank for your second place finish tonight?
Big shout out to you guys at Turn 3. You guys definitely put on amazing broadcast every week, and it's always awesome to go back and watch and see the highlights and stuff. And big shout out to Al and all the other admins for putting this league on. Definitely a blast to come out here and race with a lot of the really, really fast guys. Definitely a challenge week in and week out. And big shout out to Ryan Kuhn Motorsports and our cam setup shop. He's definitely improved our program on the sim a lot. And huge shout out to Creative Counters, Burke Lawn, everybody, all the people coming out and watching, and yeah.
Thank you once again, Casey, and hopefully we'll hear from you next week when we go to Hickory. But now we're going to be moving on once again, and I believe Roger is caught up with our third place finisher.
Third place finisher here tonight is Brian Hacker. Hacker, another good run here for this team. Tonight, though, it'll be a third place finish. Back-to-back podium finishes feel pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad. I just didn't feel comfortable at all really tonight. I think combination of the setup and then just couldn't get a rhythm going with the yellows in the back and having to pace quite a bit more than I think we wanted to. But can't ever complain with a third in this league, so happy to be here.
A third place finish. You kept Brett Hahn on his heels, though, through the middle portions of this one. You say you didn't feel comfortable, but the car looked really fast. What could you have done here tonight, maybe to dial that one in to get around the 7-Eleven?
Thought for a while we were going to get a long green flag run. We had one, I think we had like a 40 lapper or so right before halfway. I was hoping we were going to go a ways and maybe finish the race out under green because I was trying to stay close to Brett, but also let him get far enough away that maybe he didn't have much of a reference point. Maybe use his stuff up a little bit. But once we got a yellow about halfway, then it seemed like cautions bred cautions, and we paced a lot. And starting on the outside is difficult. We did that several times, and finally it bit us, and Casey was able to get around us for second. And then I just didn't feel comfortable. So it is what it is. This is usually one of my favorite tracks. I was excited to come here. Happy for a third place finish, but I think we had a little bit more left in the tank tonight.
Well, maybe you can take that and head to Hickory. This will only be the second time the Upstate Racing League has ever gone to the Hickory Motor Speedway. How do you feel about headed back to the East Coast?
It's a challenging track for sure. So it's I'm relatively indifferent. I don't love it. I don't hate it. So I think it's gonna be one of those races where you got to stay out of trouble. If you can keep your nose clean and keep everybody off your rear bumper, then I think you should have a pretty good finish. It is a little difficult to pass there. It is hard to keep the tires underneath it. That's an old track. It's abrasive. It wears quickly. So I think it's gonna be about patience next week. So hopefully we can have a little bit of patience, and hopefully some of the folks around us will be patient as well, and we can put on a good show.
Well, third place finish here for you tonight, Brian, who's back home, and well, hope that little one's still sleeping through all this.
Yeah, we'll see. It's right around his bedtime now, so we'll have to go check and see what he's up to. But thanks to the wife for letting me do this a couple times a week and taking care of him. And Aberdeen Lodge, who's come on board this season, Carbon Junction, Narrative Coffee, you guys for putting on this broadcast. It's a good time to go back and watch you guys call these things, and your analysis is pretty damn good compared to a lot of the other services out there. Al and the team for putting this league on and gathering the group of drivers that we have here, and congrats to Casey for second and Brett for the win. He's run a couple really good races here, and really kind of showing that he's a top-notch guy and potentially a contender for the points if he comes back next year. So and I also need whatever he's got going right now. I need some of that energy.
We all need a little bit of Brett Hahn's energy. There's Brian Hacker, though. He'll finish tonight off in the third position. He'll round down the podium finishers. Brett Hahn picks up the win. Casey Bietti second here tonight, and Brian Hacker will finish third. All those drivers on a little bit of a run here as of late with the Upstate Racing League, showing why they are some of the best racers that there are on the service. So with Brett Hahn picking up another win, that's going to extend his Rookie of the Year championship. Hopeful that he can go pick up this season. We'll have to keep a close eye over the next three races, because there's only three more races left here with the Upstate Racing League on the Best Colorful Creations Pro Series side of things. We head to the Hickory Motor Speedway next week, then we head to the Oxford Plains Speedway, and then it's down to the Five Flags Speedway for the final race of the season. So, Kelly, just three more races left this season to decide two championships.
Yeah, only three races to go, and they are going to be ones to watch, as each one of these tracks is going to put on a great show, each for kind of their own reasons. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this championship is going to close out and who we are going to crown as our season champion.
It's just three more races left to crown that champion here, and well, that's going to about do it, though, here from the Las Vegas Bullring. Brett Hahn is able to pick up his second career win with the Upstate Racing League. Once again, Casey Bietti is in second, and Brian Hacker will round down the podium. Fourth was going to be Stephen Roachford, and fifth, Justin McDuff. That's how they unofficially come across the line here tonight. But that's going to about do it for everybody at the Upstate Racing League. Everybody was Best Colorful Creations. We also got to thank AJ Hamlin, Project Confusion, for confusing the heck out of everybody out there watching tonight at home. My name is Roger Mute. That's Kelly Dawn. Until we see you next time, race fans, everybody stay safe, and we'll see you in Turn 3.